Hey, folks, welcome to the Accessible Hunter podcast. I'm Greg Trainer along with my co host Mike Hudson. And today we got Jacob Jackson from down in Arkansas. Jacob runs a 501 called RollingStone Outdoors. And we're going to be talking with Jacob here in a little bit. But, Mike, what's going on in South Carolina, brother?
Oh man, just living the dream, dude. We're trying to close out this deer season. Here we are in December already, man. It's crazy to think this year how fast it's flown by. And we got to January 3rd here, so man, the weather's kind of got really funky. We had a lot of cold spell. The deer were chasing good, and then they turned back off. We're starting to see them again chasing some now, so got to get after them and try to close this season out. But
I,
just enjoying the dream, man.
I hear you, man. We still have rifle season here, and I'm not much of a rifle hunter anymore. I really got into, crossbow and archery
Yeah.
really heavily the last 10 years. And I still shoot my rifle and still go out and get after it a little bit. But bow hunting's my passion. And today's high is going to be 29 degrees. So I think I'm going to be bagging it the rest of the week here. But Jacob, what's going on in Arkansas, man?
Loving it, loving it. About the same as Mike, like he said. The rut it popped on real early, and it was hot, man.
Yeah.
You couldn't go nowhere around here without almost running into a buck deer or it running into you. Uh, we've had a pretty hot season. We've had some good hunts. I did want to cover. I'm not a 501. I got denied on my paperwork whenever I first filed because I filed it myself. Trying to be a cheapskate, I reckon. But it'll happen. But I am absolutely 100% free. We try to get anybody and everybody out here that we can, and it is absolutely no cost to them. Uh, it's actually family land that I've acquired in the past. Well, my wife really, but in the past 5 years, and we have just been focusing on turning everything into as accessible as possible for the outdoors. I mean, I'm sure y'all know there's a lot of things in the woods you can't account for.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. And we've been following you on Facebook, and I know you're getting out with a bunch of different people. You're taking people hunting, and good luck with the paperwork and getting all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and you'll definitely get there. But as you said, that's not stopping you from taking people out hunting, and we enjoy what you're doing. Following along on your videos and your reels. Seems like you're really getting people out and looking at your background there. It looks like you got one or two mounts up behind you that anybody would be proud to have for sure.
Appreciate that. This one here in the back is actually off of this property. That was the first year I was in a chair. Um, and up until this year had been the last year I compound bow hunted. So that was my last and still is my last compound bow kill. And then this one here is actually and that's an 8 point. I think he'll probably go mid 130s. And then this one here is a public land 12 point out of Bismarck off public land up there. I got him year before last.
Wow.
And both of them were just the good Lord blessing me.
Yeah. Jacob, for the folks that don't know you, man, will you tell us a little bit about your injury and how you ended up in a chair?
Man, I always yes, I would love to tell that story. I always try to start off with I wasn't being the person I should have been.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was a young kid. I was 18 years old when I got put in a chair. I'm a T10, T11 paraplegic. It's right in between the vertebrae there, and it's complete. It was a complete sever, clean cut. My spine shifted. I think 6 inches is what they said. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I'm telling you, good Lord had His hand on me the whole time. I didn't have no wild internal bleeding or anything like that. I didn't have a scratch on my body. Uh,
Wow.
I worked at Zip Line Park over here in Southwest Arkansas, and on the way to work one morning, actually I wasn't going to work. I was going to the office to get the pickup, and on the way to the office, uh, same road I drove every morning, same everything. I was running like 24 mile an hour last time I looked at the speedometer on a little side by side. Not brand new side by side, nice side by side, and I rolled it. One time laid it over on its side. There were some obstructions around an oak tree to keep folks from backing into the trees in the parking lot.
Yeah.
and my right front tire caught the corner of one of them, and it just turned me on a dime and slid me out of the seat and into one of them stumps, and side by side kind of leaned over on top of me. But like I said, the whole time it was like good Lord had His hand on me. It was super peaceful. I never really freaked out. I told the paramedic that was there because she worked at the um, zip line park there. I told her, I was like, I'm paralyzed. I can feel this and I can't feel this. I said I know I'm paralyzed.
Yep.
Uh, but it was never scary.
Yeah.
It was just one of them situations that I just rolled with it, and it's made me a whole lot better person. I was as I was saying, I was young, and the good Lord was opening all kinds of doors for me in sports, and just in all kinds of areas of my life. And rather than thanking Him and going the direction He was trying to push me, I was partying and I was not doing what I needed to do. And He sat me down and allowed me to smell the roses, or allowed me to be sat down and smell the roses, I guess I could say. Uh, Life worth enjoying, man, and there ain't no sense in rushing it away. And I'm very grateful to be in the situation I'm in.
We're not laughing at you, man. We're laughing with you because uh, that seems to be a rolling theme, man. Me and Greg, both the same thing. God's got a great plan for us, and I'm right there with you, brother. Wasn't doing the right things when I ended up getting hurt. Here we
Yes,
are,
sir.
and I'm on a lot better trajectory now since my injury than before.
Been in
And
a chair 10 years, and I am 100 times a better man than I was 10 years ago.
There you
Uh,
go.
and
y-
that's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Jacob, what a lot of people don't realize, and when you're young, you don't. You kind of take things for granted how life rolls along, and you're enjoying your family, but you're not thinking about long-term things. And when you suffer a spinal cord injury, it really makes you sit down and think about, what's important in life and where you want to go and how you're conducting yourself as a person. But it can happen so quick in the blink of an eye to anyone. You were on your way to work. You weren't really doing anything crazy. Your tire just caught a log and boom, before you know it, you're on your side and it's an instantaneous, permanent, life-changing alteration. And that can happen to any of us at any time.
Uh, Boy, it was wild, and that was the last thing that crossed my mind. I was never rude. I'd always hold the door for anybody. I'm a yes ma'am, no ma'am type person.
Mhm.
Just it's the way I was brought up. But as far as going the extra mile to help somebody do something, or to what I'm doing now, reach out to individuals and focus on things that are obvious needs that people may not tell you is an obvious need,
Right.
or may not want to say, hey, this is what I need.
Yep.
It takes a special kind of person, in my opinion, or just a regular old fella that ain't paid no mind his whole life, that gets put in a situation and has to focus on things, and then
There you go.
your eyes get opened up, and it it's not a bad thing, in my opinion. It is not a bad thing, and like you said, it can happen to absolutely anybody at any time. I was 18 years old, had scholarships to go play football in college. I was not expecting to turn nearly 30 sitting in a wheelchair. I'll put it
Yes,
that
sir.
way.
There you go. How did you get back into hunting right after your injury, man? I mean, if you were like me and Greg, we went to Shepherd Center in Atlanta and, talking to recreational therapists, and they were pushing us. They were like, "Hey, what are you passionate about?" So what was your first steps right after your injury on getting back out?
Got put in a wheelchair in August, and
Right before the season.
September deer season kicks off, and I wasn't finna miss it. Uh,
Love it.
my dad's always been an adapt, improvise, and overcome type person. Uh, Not only that, I hate to say I live off the land, because unlike a lot of folks, I don't live off the land as much as I could have. I'm not off grid or nothing like that, but but we do cut our own firewood, and we do eat a lot of wild venison throughout the year. And I eat
Yeah.
squirrels, and I eat rabbits, and we do it a little bit different. And when I got put in a chair, the first thing I woke up to was because I lived with my uncle at the time. Weird family dynamic, South Arkansas stuff, odd family dynamic. But I lived with my uncle on my mom's side, and my mom, I could hear her outside the door when I woke up, and her and my uncle was going back and forth about who was going to tell me my legs didn't work.
Yeah.
But I knew whenever I was on the ground that
Right.
my legs didn't work,
Yeah.
and I may have chose different wording when I woke up at the time and being an 18-year-old kid, but I said, I ain't no wimp. I already know my legs don't work, and kind of hollered at them to come in the room. And then my brother
Right.
walked in and was like, "What are you doing, you crippled sucker?" And we went back and forth for a minute, and I just take everything with a grain of salt. And
Right. A little
like
tough
old,
love.
yes, sir, 100%. And it has gotten, I tell you, it's gotten me through a lot.
Yeah.
It's gotten me through a lot. I'm thick skinned. I don't let a lot bother me. Uh, but also I feel like, and I've been that way. I fist fought my whole life, and that's being in a chair, not being in a chair. Like it. I'm not gonna idly sit by in any situation, but especially in one where someone's being disrespectful to somebody that don't think they've got a voice or whatever.
Right.
For instance, handicap parking spots, buddy. You don't want to mess with me over a parking spot. I don't use them personally, but I know there's individuals that got to unload electric chairs, and I've been put in situations because I couldn't get back in my car because I didn't
Yeah.
use them. And yeah, we don't play that game around here. We stand up for anything and everything we believe in, and I believe I wanted to go hunting, and my brothers and I had three good buddies that didn't leave my side, and we made it happen, man. We was in the woods just honestly probably more in one season than I had been my whole life, just because I'd taken advantage of it my whole life.
Sure.
I could just go out there and hunt when I wanted to hunt, and man, there's a whole lot of stuff you've got to pre-plan and think about whenever you're carrying track chairs and equipment and just all the things it takes to get somebody out there.
Right.
I,
And yeah, I think they wanted to show me, and me, I wanted to show myself that I could still do it, and so I done it, and good Lord let me know I could do it too.
that's awesome, Jacob. And you're right. When you're in a chair or you have any type of disability, the planning phases of getting back out there takes a lot more. This is how we're going to do it, rather than just grabbing your gun or grabbing your crossbow and heading out the door. Everything takes a little bit more planning. And it sounds like you had a really close family and some good friends and good buddies that got you back out there right away. And you were successful that first year. Um, are you mainly a big whitetail hunter, or living down in Arkansas? Do you do any duck hunting? You do waterfowl too, or is it mainly just deer?
I've always been a deer hunter. I was raised mostly, well, I say raised. I lived a lot of my younger life with my grandparents. And my grandpa, every evening when he got in, we went to the hills, and it's 6,000 acres up there of leased land. And we rode the hills every evening, and we watched deer move, which at that time I was young. So, we still had quite a few quail. And we hunted everything, every spring. All my great uncles and my grandpa and everybody, we'd all get together and go to the Starling Bottoms down here and run squirrel dogs. We ran rabbit dog. Mr. Bell Leaper, he's got some of the best rabbit dogs in Southwest Arkansas, and has had my whole life. It's just it's just something that was instilled in me at a young age, and then I re waterfowl. That's always been an old pocketbook ordeal for me. Um,
Yeah.
it's expensive, man, and
Oh
uh,
Yep.
yeah. Oh yeah.
and and I wasn't really brought up. I guess because it was expensive, I wasn't really brought up duck hunting. Uh, so I didn't get into that until my buddy Dallas. I'm sure y'all have seen some videos on, until he came up hunting with me about 4 years ago. Uh, and he was successful. He came up and hunted for a week with me, and we got him on a couple does. And he told me then, he was like, "Man, I love deer hunting. I've never really been a deer hunter." He said, "But my passion is duck hunting."
Yeah.
And so I was straight up with him. I was like, man, I don't really know. I don't know much about duck hunting. I was like, I went with a couple of buddies in high school, but it was more or less hang out all night and then end up at a duck hole at 5 in the morning and talk,
Right.
talk smack all morning. Uh, but but so after that year, which and we made a few walk-in hunts that year. We were not successful, but hey, let me tell you, we had some not so good great times.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and
And
no planning, not knowing what I'm doing, just winging it, just because he was down here to deer hunt and wanted to go try and shoot some ducks, and so that's what we tried to do. Uh, I I'm very big on independence.
Yeah.
I'm very big on independence. So that's what I told Dallas. If you would rather switch over to duck hunting, I don't know much about it, but you're here to hunt, buddy, and whatever you want to hunt, we can hunt. And so
Jacob, you want to describe Dallas's disability for folks that don't know?
oh yeah, Dallas is one of my good buddies, and he's got a TikTok that's Brave and Blind. So if y'all want to check him out, y'all can go check him out after y'all watch this video. But he was found shot. I don't remember. I think it was 7 years ago, last year actually. He's found shot, and he'd been shot with double aught buckshot, point blank. And he'll go into how it happened and what happened or whatever.
Right. Right.
Uh, but he fought for his life I'm sure he had 55 surgeries after the fact, so I'm sure he fought for his life for several months.
Yes, sir.
But he's sitting there conscious for 3 hours. I think probably talking to the good Lord about a whole lot of things and waiting on the paramedics to pick him up. And he is the most godly man I've ever met in my life. I've been in situations red faced, mad, cussing everybody and the good Lord, and he'd just be like, Jacob, tell me what you need me to do. Calm down. Tell me what you need me to do. And
Yeah.
but long story short, Dallas is 100% blind. He has prosthetic eyes. He's does not have some of the facial features that most individuals have or that he had. But he does not let nothing stand. I'm talking about like his face area is delicate. Is what I'm getting at, because
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
he
Yeah.
doesn't have the bone structure that we have in our foreheads and stuff. So you can imagine following a guy in a wheelchair. He's 6'5", I think. So following a guy that's 4'2" now through the woods, there's a lot of limbs and stuff I don't think about having to duck under. And
Right.
man,
Right.
he perseveres through everything. He does not let anything knock him down or slow him down. And
Just take it to the face, man.
yes, sir. Yes,
Well,
sir.
the
Yes,
the
sir.
the the reason I wanted you to describe Dallas is, not everybody follows, you or me, and didn't realize that. But I watched a reel of you guys on a four-wheeler the other day, and you're telling Dallas where to go, and you're following behind him, and he's driving a four-wheeler, and I'm just like, man, these guys, we got to have them on the podcast because they definitely don't let anything stop them. And Mike, you and I are kind of the same way. If you tell us we can't do something, we probably want to do it even more. But to see how you guys work together, Jacob, that was just awesome. That he was trusting you, and you were telling him, turn it a little bit, straighten it out, do this, do that, and he was following along. So. If you let a limb smack your buddy in the face because you're a little bit shorter and didn't realize it, I I, I think you got one coming over that.
100%. He'll for sure be trying to get me back. He always does.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's funny, man. We can get down a sidetrack in a minute, but
I told
Jake,
you.
hey, it is all what it is, man. I love it. That's what's good about being in a deer camp, man. You could just sit there, talk trash, and just love life.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
but Jacob, getting back to hunting and whatnot, if you had an ideal dream hunt, what would be your dream animal,
Red stag.
Oh
dude?
yeah.
No hesitation. Where
No
at?
hesitation. I'm honestly not very specific, but if possible to be out of country, I'd love to be out of country.
Yeah,
Native on their native ground.
right.
Yeah, just I don't know, something about the old land and history and just
Yeah, yeah.
and to be I if possible, I would like to do a legitimate, not gonna say non-guided. I'd love to be guided, but
Right.
I would like to get out and hunt, and that's my biggest thing at RollingStone Outdoors. And I'm not knocking any program at all, but I've been on a whole lot of core hunts and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and they highlight disabilities.
Yeah.
Like it takes 5 grown men to go get my deer, and it takes a whole lot to do, and in a lot of circumstances it does. But I did not realize how much it helps to just to be in the woods, to be with. That's a lot of my church time, guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
when I'm in the woods, I'm talking to God a lot, and it's really easy to do that with you and a buddy, or just you out there in the woods, and not having to have 2 or 3 guides with you, and or maybe being able to wake up and go out with you and your wife, or you and a
Yeah.
kid, just a little bit of that independence back, and whether it is on a spot that you got to go know beforehand, or whatever. You might not be able to go in there and blindly hunt, but you are in there sitting in a blind by yourself, and it gives a little bit back. And
Right.
I really realized it after that first year of me and 4 buddies having to be successful on a deer. Like it. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for them 4 friends, and I love it. But I also love sitting up against a tree by myself in the woods, and at
Yes,
6
sir.
o'clock in the morning. There's just something about it that I really really like, and I feel
And
like a lot of people feel like they had to lose that whenever they may have lost something in life, or may not have ever had. But there's a lot of individuals that weren't born with things, so they don't know what they're missing out on, man. And
and
if I can give that back to them, I'd love to.
and Jacob, you bring up a really good point. When we go on a organized hunt, with a charity that has a lot of volunteers, a lot of the people can't do enough to help you. They want to be out there with you. They want to make sure you're successful, that you have everything you need, and that's awesome. That's great. But it's a
Yes, sir. That is
but
awesome. I
but
love that.
but it's a different style of hunting than just going out with your wife, or going out with your dad, or just one other person. And not everybody has the family and friends to be able to get you out. But I understand exactly what you're talking about, that sometimes you just want some quiet time out in
Yes, sir.
nature, and back to the way things were pre-injury, that you can sit out in your blind. And it sounds like you're fortunate enough that you have a lot of access to land with your wife's family, and things that maybe you can get dropped off, and as long as you have your cell phone, you can kind of hunt by yourself for a little while.
Again, guys, I am very thankful for the situation I got put in, and I got put in a situation that I'm in for a reason. And I did not realize that for about 5 years. I spent 5 years just trying to be a cool guy in a wheelchair, and
Yeah.
uh, and the good Lord had so much more in store for me. Um, and with that being said, I still hunt a lot of public ground. My wife's had to come get me out of creek bottom several times. I've had to call her at work about, look, I got high centered in my track chair. It's dark.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be off for another 3 hours. You finna have to come get me.
Oh,
Uh, that
Jacob, we're laughing because you married up, brother, and so did Mike and I.
Yeah,
If it wasn't
100%.
if it wasn't for our wives, we're going to drop a pin and tell you where to come get us. And
Yes.
and and and,
Yeah.
and by the way, bring a shovel, because I'm buried to the axles in my chair.
Right.
100%.
Hey, bring some fire ant repellent because I'm sitting right in a fire ant pit.
Man, I put myself in some of the craziest situations. But yeah, to answer your question about I'm very fortunate. I live in about a 6 acre hardwood flat. And this is family land, but it ended up going up for sale. And I told my wife about 3 years ago, whenever it was being talked about being sold, I was like, look, this is my inheritance. This is everything I've wanted my whole life. I was like, if there's any way we can make this happen,
Yeah.
um, I want to make it happen. And
Yes,
I was
sir.
like, and it goes hand in hand with what I've been trying to do with the Rolling Stone Outdoors. It's a great. It's handicap accessible. It was altered whenever I got put in a chair, because I lived with my uncle. It's my uncle's place. Uh, I lived with him when I got put in a chair. So you know, it was literally the good Lord telling me, hey, here's your opportunity. Walk
Right.
Yep.
through this door, roll through this door. So so that's what we pulled the trigger on it. And like I said, I live in a hardwood flat that's backed by 120 acres of family land, and me and my wife own 80 of it, and it's going exactly the way I was hoping it would go.
There
Uh,
you go.
and I feel like if I keep doing what he's pushing me to do, I feel like he's just gonna keep opening doors and allowing me to
100%.
keep helping others, man. And it's kind of became a passion of mine. It's something I love to do.
Right.
And go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say it's easily addictive, man. You know, you get somebody out, you see the smile and the reconnection on their face, and dude, that I get passionate about that. I love pulling the trigger or drawing, drawing a string. But at the same token, dude, if I can get somebody back outdoors that has not gone or thought they lost something, and you get them back out and see that spark kick back in where they're just outdoors, getting grounded with nature. And, I have a running joke a lot of times and just say, if I can be in a deer blind or I can be, throwing a lure or I can be doing any of this and that, it's hard for the devil to find me in a tree stand. And so
Yes, sir.
all I want to do is be outdoors and it doesn't matter what I'm doing.
A
And
100%, 100%. You couldn't have said it no better, brother.
hey, I'm ready to go.
Jacob, what kind of adaptive equipment do you use or have access to? I know with Dallas having a vision impairment, what kind of adaptive gear do you guys use?
Boy, that right there is the hardest question to answer because let me tell you, I put him on a 130-inch 7 point last year. Uh, and we had worked with we had Tacticam, the little solo cam
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tacticams
Oh
Oh
we
yeah.
yeah.
had. We had that. We've had the solo cam extreme and the solo cam 4, and we have ran into issues with them every time, and it's probably operator error. I'm like I couldn't even get on the pot, or I couldn't even get on the Zoom earlier. It's probably operator error, but we have resorted to SnakeLook is what it is, and it just it slides. I wish I had it right here beside me. I'd show it to you, but it slides on the back of the scope, and then your cell. It's got a square mount, and your cell phone sets in that mount and looks through the optics, so you can see what Dallas would be seeing.
Right.
Uh, and I've used it with my niece. I've used it with my nephew. I've used it with Dallas. It is a very good piece of equipment. It's super quick to set up. It works really well. But man, every person requires something different.
Right.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
it's and really that's you got to be able to adapt to that. I mean, we're human beings. We've meant to adapt. That's what we do. Uh,
Yeah.
but you got to be able to go with the flow and do all the pre-planning you can do, but expect for nothing to go the way you planned. And that's kind of the way we look at things, man. We try to cover all the bases, and I tell everybody from the jump, uh, I've got 100% accessible blinds out here. Uh, None of them are more than 100-yard stroll from the driveway, and I can take you out the day before with you and a buddy, and y'all can see everywhere y'all want to be, and y'all can pick what blind y'all want to hunt. Y'all can show up in the morning and hunt. Uh,
Nice.
and if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then then we won't do that route. Then you can show up at my house at 4:35 in the morning, and we can go get in the blind together.
Yeah.
It's all about what that person needs. Uh, my personal favorite piece of equipment is my track chair.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I've actually buddied up with Oklahoma. Um, they're out of I'm not sure exactly where. I called him earlier and he ain't got back with me yet. I'm not sure exactly where in Oklahoma they are, but they buy and sell track chairs, and there's been a couple of goose hunts I've went on, and a deer hunt, an alligator hunt, just a few trips that I needed some chairs. And I've
Yeah.
called them up and been like, hey guys, I've got this planned. Is there any way I could get these chairs for that weekend? And all I gotta do is show up and pick them up.
There you
Uh,
go.
so that really, I'm really grateful for that. But my track chair, it's got me in a lot of sticky spots, but it's also got me out there. I tell everybody it ain't as good as my legs, but by golly, it's second best. It's second
Oh
best.
yeah.
You and Mike are both partners in the alligator hunting department. I've never done that, but I could get behind that. I think alligator would be fun to go after. That's something that, being a Pennsylvania guy, I've never had the opportunity. But you Southern boys seem like you can go after gators pretty often.
Hey,
Mike,
dude.
you got anything on that?
Hey, man, I'll hunt anything that won't hunt me first, and then even the stuff that will, I get after it. It don't matter to me.
Yes, sir.
All I want to do is be in the woods, man. Let's get after it.
I'm telling you. Yeah, no, the alligator hunting, that's probably. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do have one girl lined up next year for an alligator hunt, because that's only 2 weekends, possibly one weekend if they ever, fill the quota in the first weekend. But a 2 weekend hunt at the end of September. Um, and I've got a girl. I'm allowed. A really good buddy from high school hooked me up with some of his friends, and we became buddies. And they've got a grass farm down here in Southwest Arkansas, and it's loaded with them most of the year. And obviously they can't have a whole bunch of gators in their water reservoirs,
Right.
so we're allowed to go in there and harvest a couple a year. I've got a girl named or a woman named Natasha Best. She's supposed to be
Yeah,
coming down. I don't know if y'all have seen her on Facebook
Yeah.
or not, but
sure
I want
have.
to
Yeah,
say she's blowing up a little bit. We've been trying to put plans together for the past 2 years, and finally, I think she booked a flight for next year about a week ago. So we're working on that. But what I was getting at is, if you don't get on a gator, all you got to do is shoot a message, buddy. We can get something. We can get something hooked up. I
J-
love it. It is one of
J-
the most exhilarating hunts I've ever been on in my life.
It don't
Jacob,
take long.
I'm probably going to take you up on that at some point, buddy. I've always had to not convince, but I've always made my wife go to cold climates and, sit and watch a cornfield for 12 hours in 15-degree temperatures. And I think I could sell an Arkansas gator hunt whenever it's pretty nice weather, and eating some jambalaya and eating gator down there a lot easier than I can
Whew.
say, hey, babe, we're going to Illinois in November.
Just don't mention the skaters, and you'll have it sold.
There you go. Thermocell, dude. We'll bring it with us.
Telling you, you better have it in your back pocket.
Yes, sir. I'm so used to it in South Carolina and Georgia, man. If you don't, they'll tote you off.
They will, golly, they will. They'll fly off with you, ain't no doubt.
No worries. If Jacob, I know you love the bow hunt, and this is something we always ask everybody, man. So rifle hunting, what's your go-to caliber?
7 mag.
7 mag, no
Shot it.
hesitation.
No, sir. I shot it since I think my grandpa put me on his when I was 12 years old. I started out shooting a 22 250, which is a very lethal caliber. Just
Yeah,
includes a lot of blood trailing.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
but since my grandpa put me on 7 mag, that's pretty much my go-to. Got a little bit older and started, like I said, now I don't do as much hunting myself. I focus on trying to get folks, and when it's not other folks, it's my brother's kids or my nieces and nephews. It's I'm trying to
Sure.
get kids or something on something. Uh, so if the kids are with me, then I go to the 243. Uh,
Yeah.
I love a 243. It's a flat shooting long distance gun. It does good up to, well, I say long distance for a kid, long distance
Oh
shot.
yeah.
Sure.
It's
And
a very lethal round.
and Jacob, I kind of agree with you. The 243, that's my wife's favorite. And
Dang.
caliber, it's all about shot placement. And
100%.
if you grow up shooting a 243 or you grow up shooting a 7 mm, you get to where where you're going to put that bullet. And I've seen a lot of deer drop in my lifetime from a 243. And when I say drop, I mean drop it like a bad habit, because
Yes, sir.
it's a good shot placement. So uh, for folks in chairs and folks with disabilities, we can't always shoot the 30-06 or the 300 Win or the 7 mm. And you don't always have to go with the larger caliber to be effective. It's shot placement and being confident in your shot.
Oh, 110%, 110%. I was about to say, sound like you knocking on me, because I will. My wife shoots a 243 and has her whole life. and she always claims to be a better shot than me. So that might be why I shoot 7 mag.
Well,
There
I,
you
you
go.
know,
Right, right.
dude,
Hey,
I've been a shooter all my life, and my wife has no bad habits. She got into it a little bit later in life, and she can put three inside a quarter. So she's a much better shot than I'll ever claim to be. But I think a lot of people that get into shooting later in life and are good with taking instruction don't have any bad habits.
mhm.
Growing up, I started shooting at 11, 10 years old, and I developed some bad habits early on, and thought I knew what I was talking about. And I've gotten better over the years for sure. But don't knock the female shooters because they'll prove you wrong.
boy,
Every
every
time.
time.
Yes, sir. Every time.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, we joke around about it, man. In the Marine Corps, that was some of our best shooters.
Yep.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that. That's like welding and stuff. I grew up welding on the farm and with my dad in the salvage yard and all that. Well, then I went to high school and prefab and started trying to weld. And boy, that instructor told me, if he told me once, he probably told me 15 times. I'd rather have somebody that never even touched a welding rod than somebody that thought they knew what they was doing.
Yep.
And
Right.
I was like, well, I guess I can understand that, but I completely understand that with shooting. Uh, it's a lot easier to explain something to someone that doesn't know anything than it is to
Right.
somebody that knows it all.
Yeah.
And going along those same lines, Jacob, what would you say to somebody that's newly injured that wants to get back in the outdoors? And how would they contact you if they're local to Arkansas and Southwest Arkansas? What would you say to somebody newly injured that doesn't have the experience growing up that the three of us have?
Man, reach out. I'm I do most of my stuff through Facebook, and that's RollingStone Outdoors with Jacob Jackson. Uh, and I've drove to Texas to pick people up before. I go beyond. I try to do anything and everything I can do uh, to make it happen because I completely understand that feeling like you lost something, and in a sense you did, but ain't nobody lost the ability to do anything they want to do. And that I'm
Right.
telling you, I wholeheartedly believe in that. And have changed light bulbs just to prove that point, like that. You can tell me there's a whole lot that you don't think I can do, but I promise you with the right preparation and the right people on your side, anything's possible. Uh,
Right.
and just reach out. And I know Mike, the Southern Sportsman Foundation. I know, y'all do a lot over there. Uh, and that's the more I get into it, the more I realize there's a lot of folks out there that at one time thought they weren't able to do something and done
Yes,
something
sir.
about it. So everybody's been able to do something, and with everybody and their like I was saying earlier, no injury is the same, and nothing's 100%. Uh, so reach out and ask questions, and find the person that's best to work with you, or work with a group of them, or whatever. And get back out there and do what you thought you couldn't do, or think you can't do, because I promise you it's very doable.
Preach, man. I love it, dude. And I
Uh,
love seeing that pup slide in. He was coming in for a
hey,
candid shot.
that's my little old, that's Dixie girl. She's 5 months old. She was a buddy showed up with her and was like, "Look, we can't keep her no more. Do you want her?" And I got a bad habit of helping, I guess.
There you go.
I couldn't say no, and she's going to be a really awesome blood dog. She's already found 4 or 5 this year,
Beautiful.
and that one I called in another dog that I know is a good dog just to make sure, and he done the exact same thing she done. So I was like, "Daggum, she might be on to
She
something."
might own it.
You,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I
you
know
got
it's
a
the good Lord just putting the right things in the right place.
you
Hey, ain't
got
nothing wrong
got
with
a
that.
gem
He's
there,
already got
man.
a plan set, man.
Yes, sir.
Jacob,
Jacob, go
go,
ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I was just going to say would probably be out the door if we didn't ask you about turkey hunting. Do you guys do any turkey hunting there?
Boy, let me tell you. Now, I ain't never done no turkey killing, but I do a lot of turkey hunting. I do a lot of turkey hunting. Uh, I
I
got I
I
got
love
hooked
that
on
line.
I got hooked on it about 4 years ago, honestly. And I'd hunted with my grandpa, hunting up. Birds were a lot more abundant back then. It wasn't a big deal for Papa to go out there and kill his 2 birds and come home and be done with it for the year.
Yeah.
So we didn't do a lot. We didn't do a whole lot of turkey hunting growing up, or at least I didn't do a whole lot of turkey hunting. Um, and so I got into it about 4 years ago on public land. And let me tell you, boy, it's a sucker when you've been going and listening to birds right down your road for 2 months. And then opening morning, there's 52 other people that you ain't never seen
Right.
on there. Boy, I'm telling
Yes,
you, man,
sir.
they'll try to run a hunt quick. But no, I actually, I'll tell you, I'll go ahead and cover two topics. One of my most memorable hunts was a turkey hunt, and I didn't kill a thing but some time that morning.
There you go.
Uh, the same ordeal, like I said, it was at up on Brushy Creek, and had been riding around all month listening to birds, and had 4 spots picked out in case somebody beat me to one spot, or whatever.
Right.
And got in there super, or I was probably about an hour and a half early, and 3 of my 4 spots was already taken. I'd passed up my fourth one because it was the one going in that was my like I'm only gonna go there if I have to, because it was just
Right.
it was rough hunting. And so on the way, boy, I was coming out going to that 4th spot, and there's another truck sitting there, and I was like, "Dad, gum."
Yeah.
And I was driving out, and I had my wife with me, and I was beat, boy. I was devastated. Done put the chair in and out of the truck 3 times, like hoping to make something work, and just nothing was working. And passed the WMA sign, and I swear it was like, oh, good Lord said, stop, just stop. So boy, I stopped. I rolled the window down, and I was but I didn't. I didn't even holler at him. I was like, put it in reverse. So I backed up to behind the sign. So I was on public land.
Right.
Boy, I crow called out the window, and I did 2 of them hit right in the ditch. I'm talking about they was like 15 yards from me. Just, yo, yo. And I was
There
like,
you
oh,
go.
my goodness. So, boy, I'm in mode now.
Yes, sir.
I tell him, babe, get the chair, get the chair, get the chair. So she's unloading my track chair, and no, I didn't even have I didn't even unload my track chair because we was on fire break. We was right at the line. So she grabs my wheelchair out of the back seat of the truck, and is handing me guns, and I'm headed down the fire break, and she's right behind me, got my decoy in hand, and we get down in there about 50 yards, and it just kind of comes into a little old saddle. And I sat down right in the bottom of it up against the pine tree, and I put her on the back side of the pine tree, got my decoy about 15, 20 yards out front of me, and I'm about 40 yards this side of the WMA boundary line. I can see the line,
Yeah.
and while I'm working the call, they ain't responding to nothing, and I'm new at it, so I really don't know a lot. They say patience is key, and I was not a patient person at the time.
Right.
I'm just I'm hollering at them, trying to get them to do something. And finally, they ain't reacting to a call. So I lean up off the tree and I crow call. And when I do, boy, he hollers back. And I'm like, oh, goodness. This time he's about 75 yards from me, I assume. And so I get ready. I got my gun on my shooting sticks. I tell my wife, they liable to try and circle. So if you see a bird, if he
Let me know.
get ready. And anyway, so boy, she don't ever say nothing to me, but I assume we're both ready and everything's right. So I'm setting back. It seems like forever done went by. And I call again, and I just a little soft yelp. Don't hear nothing. About another 10 minutes go by, another little soft yelp. Don't hear nothing. So, boy, I lean up and I go to crow call. And before I could get that second one out, he hammers, and he's at like 50 yards. I see his head come out from behind the pine tree. Just, yo! And his buddy's blowed up behind him, coming straight to me on the string. So I'm like, oh, yeah.
It's on.
Yo, it's on. It is on, right? Boy, they get to 50 yards and hang up, and they just sitting there grazing, both bowed up, drumming back and forth, walking. And that old WMA sign's about 10 yards in front of them, boy. And I just had to sit there all morning and watch them work.
And just watch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it hooked me. It
Oh,
hooked
yeah.
me. They finally feathered down and went back. You figured out something wasn't right,
Sure.
But went back the way they came. I leaned over there and was tapping my wife. I was like, goodness, was that not awesome? She was sleeping on the backside of the pine tree.
Oh,
Dude,
dude.
dude, that's what makes turkey hunting so fun, and it can hook you in a minute, and that's a
Indeed.
great story, and I could see where you guys do a lot together, and that's just awesome that she goes out with you, and she's a hunter too, and having a good spouse that goes with you, you can't beat it. Guys,
That's key. That
I
is key.
I know that we're getting close to wrapping up here, but Mike, you have anything to close us out with today, brother?
Man, Jacob, dude, I love your enthusiasm, dude. You get excited. I'd be in trouble if we were together, man. Because that,
We
hey,
probably would.
hey, dude, turkey, man. As soon as they fire up, I've had birds. If guys and girls do not hunt and they don't understand it, if you have a turkey come up close to you, drumming, spitting, and hammers down, you'll come out of your seat.
Oh
Yes,
I
man,
mean,
sir.
it is a whole different feeling.
oh
Oh,
boy.
go
But
ahead.
I was going to say, Jacob, do you have anything coming up pretty soon that you guys are getting into? Do you have any hunts?
Yes, sir. We've actually, I don't have any major hunts planned right now. Trying to put a big hog hunt together. Dallas wanting to get one with a knife, so trying to get that together. But we do have big buck classics coming up at the end of January. We're working on getting everything ready for that, getting our booth purchased and all that stuff. But y'all, it would be awesome for anyone and everyone to come out and support that. It's always a good time, and you get to see a bunch of big deer and all that good stuff. And I'll before I get off here, if it's cool with y'all, I would like to say something about some of the guys that have helped me make things possible. Like I
Absolutely.
said, I'm not 501 or nothing, but I can't do all this by myself. I've
Fire away, man.
had a lot of help along the way. Uh, Eddie Ray's knives. And this one here's dirty, boy. Don't judge me. I use it all the time. Um, but Eddie Ray knives, you can look him up on Facebook, just Eddie Ray, or Eddie Ray's knives. Uh, some awesome, awesome knives. And if you don't see something you like, message him and he can make it. He does everything in house from the sheath to the knife to the handle. He does everything. And also Havoc boats, man. They really really worked with us last year. I've never been a boat guy, but they worked with us on getting the boat and brand new motor. A brand new boat, used motor. We're having some issues out of the motor, but man, just that everything they've done to help me help people is just absolutely awesome, and we appreciate it. We've also had a few other individuals come through with feed and just donations here and there, and man,
Sure.
everything helps, and it helps to help.
You,
Yeah.
Jacob, we can't do any of this without friends and supporters.
No.
And, when you put the word out there that you're trying to help people and trying to get people outdoors, people come out of the woodwork to help. And they donate their time, they donate their ideas, they donate their products to people with disabilities. And we're just always so thankful to be able to talk with people like yourself and find out what you're doing. And, you know, everywhere throughout the country, there's a story like this. And we're glad to share it. I'm glad you come on the podcast with us today. And we appreciate your time. And folks, if you want to get in contact with Jacob down at Rolling Stone Outdoors, we'll have his contact information. And thanks for listening to the Accessible Hunter podcast today. And have a great afternoon.
Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely, brother.